Hey all, new day, new verses. We continue on into Galatians. Today we're picking up with verses 17 and 18 in chapter 4. I don't think I'm going to be doing the Genesis shorts too much anymore, because I want to do them in context, and it's really hard to do within a minute. But I've been praying on, I'm still going to keep praying on being more real, and just in those shorts, just those moments of, have you ever been angry enough to that point? Have you ever been sad to that point? Just those vitriol places that we experience that we don't necessarily want to talk about because, society has those expectations. We can't be angry. Okay, but if you are angry, whether society says you're allowed to be or not, is inconsequential. You need the anger worked on. If you're sad, depressed, hurting, even joyful, there are certain things that society says, well, you're not allowed to do that. And I want to get into those real places so that real healing can be talked about. Because when you're hurting, real healing matters. Putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg is a waste of time. But that little bit of housekeeping aside, let's get into it. Here we go. Those false teachers are so eager to win your favor, but their intentions are not good. They are trying to shut you off from me so that you will pay attention only to them. If someone is eager to do good things for you, that's all right. But let them do it all the time, not just when I'm with you. I wanted to stop there for a moment because, Paul will go on and talk about the difficulties of feeling like still in birth pains, of helping get them out of these places, and the difficult struggles of just like, you don't have to do with that. Wait, I don't have to be? No, you don't have to. And that constant struggle of saying, please stop looking at the puppet theater. Please stop going back into Plato's cave. Please stop running headlong into a wood chipper. And there's a lot that can be done with that, and we may Thursday. I'm just kind of letting God lead on this one as always. With 17 and 18, and Lord, give the words in direction, and let me show it as you showed it to me. These areas here, at first it could sound like Paul's doing the whole catty, they're trying to cut you off from me. No, they're trying to cut you off from me, but he's not. He's having an issue with people trying to throw these rules and these regulations and these pointless religious things that get away from the true gospel that unites all of Christendom. That unites every single one of us, whether it's Calvinist, Presbyterian, or whatever it may be. There are so many sub-denominations out there, it gives me a damn headache. What's beautiful to see, though, is the consistency that is important. The most important thing, the grace, the gospel of the good news. That Jesus died in our place so that we may live, rose, so that we may live again. Because his issue here with these other teachers has nothing to do with the drama and the cattiness and the juvenile crap that we get into. Look at his letter to the Corinthians. He points that out quite well. Who is Apollos? Who is Peter? Who is Paul? All but servants of the Most High God. Who are any of us? God himself says in the Word that he is no respecter of men. It's these places of understanding that it's about intimate relationship. The moment we start getting high and mighty of ourselves is the moment we start creating our own Tower of Babel, just worshiping at the altar of me. I'm going to make myself up to be this amazing thing. Okay, good luck with that, Tut. It's not going to work. Because look at all the ancient peoples, look at all the ancient cultures that we have all of these amazing pieces of archaeology and all these wonderful hours of study going into it. And for the most part, we still haven't a clue. Other than recognizing the very little changes with our species and that history generally rhymes, we wouldn't have a clue, we wouldn't have an idea. Sure, we know how King Tut died, but we have no idea what his hopes were, what his dreams were, what he enjoyed doing. How he felt about having the many birth defects that he had. The things that are actually important to a person's story, we have none of that information from the past. As Ecclesiastes points out, time marches on. And so his issue here is with preachers and those who are supposed to be shepherds doing the same thing that the shepherds of Israel did in the King's period. The same thing we're dealing with now. Because the Bible is very much relevant to today. You have this piece of, we want to keep you in your close-knit group, and we want to make sure that you only talk to your tribe, and that you're only in this echo chamber, because you're not allowed to have outside thought. You're not allowed to agree with other people, because if you do that, we're going to excommunicate you from the tribe. Vote you off the island. Now, I thought it was stupid then. I think it's stupid now. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. I apologize in that I don't want to offend. Not for my opinion. Is It's reality TV syndrome. We're going to vote you out of the tribe. We're going to vote you off the island. We're going to cast you out because you're not mimicking and parrot keeping and chimp scripting and doing exactly what we tell you to do. And so it becomes this insidious place of those who want to feel like they're on the inside are being led down a primrose path because, but now you're on the inside. Okay, but it's the inside of shackles still. It's the inside of chains still. It's still the inside of a prison. Gilded cage is still a cage. And that's the issue that he's having here with a lot of these preachers. And it's one that I admittedly have too, is any time that they're trying to put cages in places where God has given freedom. Because the moment you try and chain somebody up who's already been set free, you are the prison warden. You are the person causing pain. More than that, when we let other people put those chains on us and listen to that rather than the freedom that we are given by grace, we start getting into those dark places. And so this beautiful relationship of intimate walk together ends up becoming ritual. It ends up becoming rite. It ends up becoming religion. And that's the biggest issue. Their intention isn't to give people more freedom. It's to go look at me. The intention isn't to preach the gospel. It's not to see people set free. It's to put more chains on them so that one person can lead a group. Because the broken and the hurting are prey for the worst kind of people. And it saddens me that we don't see this push in the church to be more like a hospital, where we're not giving a damn about echo chambers and tribal tattoos and this stance of these things. Because we've already talked about this. There is no slave, no free, no man, no woman, no... Like Paul talked earlier in this very same book. So why do we do this reductive tribalism thing of disagreeing over eschatology, or whatever the hell you say the word, disagreeing over these small things and walking headlong into a wood chipper because of it, rather than being united in Christ? He is the head. He is king. We are but servants. So whether it be Benny Hinn, Ferdig, Tim Mackey, T.D. Jakes, pick a person, all serving the one true God. And if you have a place where, but did the people with them do it? Because this even goes back to how Jesus talks about how we're supposed to correct a believer. We have the way we're supposed to do this. We just refuse. And so we end up into these echo chamber places where it's easier to do Christian gossip, but call it working things out. And so we end up looking the exact same thing as the world around us, and we wonder why we're hated for it. We wondered why the Christian faith is seen as a bunch of hypocrites. It's because it's the Corinthians' problem. I'm free to do whatever I want. You're free. The freedom should make you want to live differently. Freedom that you don't have to play the legalism game. And because you don't have to play the legalism game, you get to walk in relationship. And in that relationship, personality changes. Character is shifted. Hatred can become joy. Depression can become hope. Graves do become gardens. It's into whose hands we place it. If we place it into the world's, we're going to end up with the same tropical Charlie Foxtrot we have now. If we keep it in our own hands, same thing. We don't have the wisdom, we don't have the knowledge, we don't have the insight. We don't have the information. Do it right. Everybody's doing this their first time around, their first go through, first get to go, try it out. See what happens. Because it's always new. Mercy's new every morning. And I'm saddened, genuinely saddened, that the very place where freedom should be discussed openly is the place where the most chains are being dealt out. Chains of, you don't look like us, so you should suffer. You don't think like us, so you should be lesser. You are lesser. And that's the way we do it. So we have these leaders who will lead purely into getting things for themselves. and they don't think about others. We don't live an other-centric life, which is sad because being made in His image, Imago Dei, we are designed to be other-centric in love because our Maker is. And yet we don't. All too often, to win favor, to win brownie points, to have prestige or title or position, we'll trade our whole soul for a temporary slice of a temporary world. And we'll do it gladly. Because we'll listen to these kind of preachers, we'll listen to the world, we'll listen to everything but God, and it will lead us to these dark places. Yet when we let God lead, when we let Him be the one, His burden is easy, His yoke is easy, His burden's few. When we do it His way, when we walk in that freedom, walk in that grace, walk in those places where He is healing us and dealing with others, then we no longer have to play the world's game. The church no longer looks like a hypocritical, laughing shadow of the world. It can look different like it's supposed to. It can look different like it was meant to. And so we stop chasing after false teachers who are eager to win favor. And we stop chasing after people whose only interest is themselves, and we start chasing after the one who died in our place. And if we start doing that, maybe our lives will look a little different. If we start doing that, maybe forgiveness will be logical. Maybe generosity would be built into our very core. And maybe mercy would be the way we live, because it makes life a little easier. I'm looking forward to continuing on with verse 19 as we go through and into the discuss of Abraham's children, of understanding the difference between the slave and the free. Because the slave is still bound to chains of legalism, chains of the world, chains of the enemy. The free person, well, like Peter in the jail, just needs a punch in the short ribs to get up and get out. So consider these that. Hey, get out of this place. Get up, grab your coat, leave this dungeon. You don't belong here. God has something better for you. I'll see you Thursday as we continue on. May His favor be upon you. Know that you are loved and don't give up hope. Because the Lord is nearer than the skin on your body or the heart in your chest. And He'll never let you go. I'll see you then. Come on.